very happy that you can be here and listen to us, and may the best energy source win. We're here to talk about the benefits of using hydropower energy as the main source of electricity in the USA. Hydropower has a simple idea. Using water to spin a turbine creates electricity in a generator. To do this, a dam has to be built across the river. When a dam is built, the water behind it becomes a reservoir that can be used for swimming, boating, and fishing. At the bottom of the dam, a penstock, or tunnel, brings water to a turbine. The water spins the turbine and exits the penstock. The turbine's energy creates electricity in the generator and gets distributed in power lines to the towns and cities. There's already 2,000 hydropower plants in the USA. That number is very big, and there's still room for more. Water is free, and the water cycle will never stop. Just so that you get an idea of how much a hydroelectricity plant makes for how little, think of this. An average household in Wisconsin uses 10,932 kilowatts per hours per month. Kilowatt hours are a unit of electricity that usually costs about 12 cents per kilowatt hour using other energy sources. With hydropower, 1 kilowatt hour costs 0.7 cents. Hydropower production in Wisconsin is about 2.1 billion kilowatt hours per year, or about 175 million kilowatt hours per month. That means in Wisconsin, a state with not that much hydropower can power 192,096 households per year for $918.28. Compare that to $1,574.20, which is the average cost of electricity for a year using other energy sources. Hydropower has been used for thousands of years, mainly in Europe. In the 1800s, people made big wooden wheels and put them into lakes so that the water spanned them. The wheel's energy was used to grind wheat and corn. This was a way of using hydropower to do things. The hydropower process has been used for very long, meaning that scientists know how it works and know how to improve it. We also don't need to teach people how hydropower works because they probably already know. Rivers aren't rare in the USA. There's at least one in every state. Almost any river is a good spot for a dam. We also aren't lacking concrete. Every resource that we need to make a functional hydropower dam is available. If we need to make a dam, we have concrete. Turbines are made of glass fiber, and that is also very common. In conclusion, hydropower is a very efficient and cheap source of energy.
I would just like to say one thing. We did make a slight mistake in there when we said there are 2,000 hydropower plants. That is actually not true. There are 2,000 dams, but not all of them are working hydropower plants. But it is a good opportunity in the future to be able to put turbines in there because we already have the dams built. You done?
Yes.
Hello, honorable judges. We are here today to talk and debate about geothermal energy, and we believe should be the country's alternative energy source. We barely pollute, and this energy source will never run out. It is cheap to use to power your house. Using steam is a great deal, and that is what we will use for this energy source. It uses water from the ground, but not too much of it. Though the hydropower plants are a little bit expensive, it is about the same cost as a coal plant. Also, we are planning to power the entire country as we assume everyone else is. So it is really cheap, and it would cost you around $50 per month to power your house, depending on how much energy you use. Our energy source is good because it only uses steam to produce the energy. It is also clean and sustainable. Resources of geothermal energy range from the shallow ground to hot water and hot rock found a few miles beneath the Earth's surface, and down even deeper in the extremely high temperatures of molten rock called magma. Although this is a really good energy source, it can affect the soil. But when we take the water from the ground, it makes the soil a little bit dry. But we condense the steam back to the water and inject it back into the ground so the soil is not messed up. We plan to power the western states, Hawaii, and Alaska on geothermal energy because there are not a lot of good places to produce geothermal energy in the east. Though this sounds like a bad idea, we will power the entire western side of the U.S., so we will not need fossil fuels at all in the west. Geothermal energy is a great resource. With barely no pollution, you should definitely get geothermal energy to power your house because all of this for such a great price is a great deal. We hope geothermal energy can be our country's alternative energy source, and we hope that you will vote for geothermal energy. Thank you.
Good job. So then, geothermal can decide if they'd like to go first or second with their argument.
Well, we started with the best way, so we can go
Should we go
But
first?
they get to decide. They might want to defer to them.
Hydropower disturbs the flow of Hydropower disrupts the flow of the river and can ruin the life cycle of fish. Fish are important to our ecosystem.
So,
Juliana, the video? We're going to the video.
We have a video. I'll leave it in.
So, yes, it might disturb the lives of fish, but with new technology that can be prevented. Also, if the flow of the you say that the flow of the river can change, but it's not like every dam will do so. It's not that common. And this is a new technology that helps hydropower be safe for fish.
Technology is also making hydropower even more environmentally friendly. For example, researchers are reducing adverse impacts on fish with fish-friendly turbines. And fish ladders, like these, let them swim around dams.
So, I've been distracted. So, what was the main argument here?
That it can disrupt the flow of the river and can ruin the life cycle of fish.
Thank you. And then, so that video showed, like, very quickly some things you're doing to make sure that that's not true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so the new technology is they're developing new turbines that are fish friendly, and then they also have fish ladders which can help the fish swim around dams. And so far, the results have been good. I mean, the stopping the flow of the river, after it goes through the turbine, then it continues on in a stream. So, I mean, after we use the water, it will just continue on to flow, but obviously we can't stop from putting the dams on.
Done.
Okay, so
you weren't very available. You can only dig into the ground in specific places. Most of these places are on the west coast. A geologist is investigated to see if it meets requirements before they can add a plant. This would take a while in addition to building the power plant.
So basically, you guys have to have a geologist come out and investigate the site before you can build a power plant there to see if it meets the requirements. And we found that this could take several months. Done.
Yes. That it has a long process that needs to be done before we can start the geothermal site, but if we get on this project right away, it will be done before we know it, and a geothermal site can produce a lot of energy, and we have a technology we'd like to use.
And I would also like to add on to that, to also say, like, even though we can power, like, some of the states that we can power, we're, like, powering all of them. We're doing our best to power the ones that we can, so, yeah.
So, yeah, it is mostly available in the west, but as you can see, there's a couple spots in the east that we could use. But as I said before, you're correct, it does take some time to figure out if this site is good, but then it does produce a lot of electricity, so it is worth it. Anything else? Done.
Zero.
Yeah.
Our Earth is already having water problems. Is it really necessary to power our country almost completely on water power?
Can you repeat
Done.
that, please?
I'll repeat it. Our Earth is already having water problems. Is it really necessary to power our country almost completely on water power?
Well, I don't really understand what you mean by water problems, but if you mean we're kind of like going short on water, hydropower does not waste the water. Every ounce of water that goes into the hydropower plant comes out 100% of it, and you can use any liquid really, any like it doesn't waste. It's not like it goes away once you use it.
Besides like magma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
So, in extreme cases, geothermal power plants can cause earthquakes and cause volcanoes to erupt.
Done.
Geothermal energy can cause earthquakes, but we can find a new way to build it so it won't make earthquakes. But anyways, geothermal power plants can cause earthquakes also.
No,
And hydropower can cause earthquakes also.
when digging the reservoirs and making the dams. Done.
Making dams on rivers affects the amount of temperature of water which flows in streams, which has effects on the agriculture and drinking water.
Agriculture.
We can
Done.
Okay. We can build. We again, since hydropower it has been used for thousands of years, we can find a way to make that, to prevent that. And scientists are already working on it, and also it doesn't when the water changes, it's not usually a like drastic change. It usually drops or goes up by a few degrees, at the most 20, but that's kind of rare. Done.
It
can re-
The power plants.
The power plants are very high maintenance. Are very high maintenance and can be dangerous if they aren't cared for properly.
Done.
Yes, geothermal power plants are expensive, but hydropower plants are more expensive than geothermal. Yeah, and then I have something to add on to that. Also, it's not like it's gonna do something. A power plant in geothermal is gonna do something bad because the only cause of that would be like by a human. A human could make like go bad. Yeah.
But also, running the geothermal power plants are, yes, as you said, they are expensive, but the cost of the energy that the plants are producing is pretty cheap, so luckily it's not too big of a problem. Anything else? Done.
The reservoir of water, the reservoir of water for hydropower releases a large amount of carbon dioxide, which can increase pollution.
Well,
Done.
I've never actually
Yeah,
heard that.
I haven't heard
I
that
haven't heard
before.
that.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't
You didn't
know.
find
The
that?
things that you don't really dig reservoirs. It kind of happens.
And I would like to add on to that, the reservoirs are also used for boating and fishing too. So I mean, it's not really like, yeah.
Also, I haven't, like, on my research, I've never heard of a reservoir being dug. I mean, like, I've never really heard of that. I mean, I might be wrong, but just on my research, I've never really, it's usually just the reservoir just goes, just
Yeah,
happens.
when you build the dam.
I've never heard of that, but we might be wrong.
Done.
Kiddos, we'll call it in 2 more minutes, okay? To, like, for lunch. We'll continue.
Would we just leave the setup here?
Yeah, we're just gonna put computers so they're plugged in, that's all.
Okay. So, the power plants can release toxic chemicals into the earth, like arsenic, boron, and mercury. It can also sometimes leak sulfur dioxide and silica. Even though it releases some... Even though it releases some carbon dioxide, or in some cases other gases, most of the geothermal power plants are far away from homes, and also hydropower does too. And this it does not happen drastically.
Is he here?
Yeah.
Okay, done. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. Even though it releases some carbon dioxide and in some cases other gases, most of the geothermal power plants are far away from homes. So this does not happen too often, but as I said, it's far away from homes and other.
Isn't that your defense stuff?
Yeah.
So why did they need to repeat it?
Cause I was told that
Oh,
was
no,
the argument.
no, don't answer that then.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, you've got an argument though.
That was their defense, and then they asked for it again.
Yeah, don't ask for it again, okay? Like a defense. An argument you can ask to rehear it, but you can't ask for a defense again. Sorry, just because that confused me. So,
Okay.
geothermal, go ahead and give me your argument, then we gotta go.
Okay.
I've heard that lots of the time new hydropower plants flood the land around it. They can't just be flooding the whole country.
Well,
Done.
Wait, done?
it happens actually naturally in like every body of water. It's going to flood no matter what, because it's just gonna rain. So I mean, like even in a natural river with no dam, it's gonna flood.
Also, I just want to add on to that. Also, the land. It's not gonna flood the whole country. It's only gonna flood probably at the most 5 feet. But it's also the land around it. If there's people living there, they're asked if they can leave their homes or something like that. Because you're not just gonna flood people's homes. It's expected, and we try to yeah.
And also, there could easily be a way to
Sand
go around it. Like, I mean, we could put some sort of barrier up so that it doesn't flood. I mean, it's not too hard of a problem.
And I like to add on to that. People that
Give me 5. We should start cleaning up for.
Just get your computers plugged in. Half of these are Lattice computers. Can we plug them in over there, guys?
Yeah.
We can even take them
Should we
as
just
we
leave
go.
our computers?
But we're math that way.
I know, so let's let them stay plugged in for 2 hours, and then, don't worry about the tables, that's not gonna hurt math.
What about the chairs?
That's fine. Kids can grab them for math, we just wanted to maximize